Any other use of this telecast, or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without Cactus Media X or Arizona Cactus Football League's consent is prohibited.
Welcome to another night of the Commiss Picks. Me, your host, Matt Archer, the commissioner of the AZCFL, and my co-host, James Franchise Bush. We're back to you guys with another week of picks. Little special episode tonight. We do not have any games tomorrow. So we decided to do a special how do I want to explain it, Bush? Prediction still in the line of what our show's about, but some road maps to the championship. So I'm excited. Should be a very fun episode. I'm sure we'll get a lot of feedback and people liking to comment, as we like to say. So, but anyways, as our traditional fashion, how was your week?
Good, man. Busy week. Work was busy, but, good to be done. So,
Yep.
Kind of sad there isn't any games tomorrow, but I'm going to be happy to, just kind of relax a little bit. So, that'll be good.
Yeah, it should be a fun time for sure.
How about you, though? How was your week?
Good, man. Busy. Trying to gear up for headed out of town next week. So
that's right. Yeah, you'll be gone.
Kind of glad we're not having any games tomorrow. I need to get some stuff done around my house and get that going.
True.
And, hopefully we'll be able to figure out how to do commission picks while I'm on the road. Might be a week or two where I'm maybe have to zoom in or something, but
yeah, we'll work it out.
Should be good. Well, cool. Those of you guys that follow the AZCFL, we actually put out a mid-season playoff brackets based on the current standings. We definitely wanted to remind everybody that that's just the current standings. That's not the actual playoff brackets. That's not the actual what it'll look like. I think it's going to change week to week to week based off of, who's doing what weekend, who's playing, the records. We'll deep dive into that a little bit more here in a minute. But so shout out to all my fans watching, all of James's fans, probably a whole 3 people on there right now.
No, we got 31 people.
Oh, wow.
Not too bad.
Cool.
So,
well, awesome. Well, let's dive right in it, man. So
all
let's take a look at the current standings. So this would be if we actually were to start playoffs tomorrow, right?
Yep. This would be as it stands right now, and
Okay.
it's kind of interesting to see where some of the teams are kind of landing at.
Yeah. Got that Chihuahua wild card right there, the 1 through 4 seeds bracketing up,
Okay.
which we're calling the, quote, wild card. And then, yeah, so let's just go through this. So we would have, if we did it based off the current standings today, we would have the Silverbacks and the Hawks game.
So, Silverbacks, Hawks, game that just happened a couple weeks ago, right? Close game. I think we kind of talked to it. Yeah, in Prescott, I think we both predicted the Silverbacks to win, but definitely was I think a lot closer game than what a lot of people, thought it might be, myself included. But I would end up taking the Silverbacks, I think, in that game.
Yeah. I have to go with you, too. They're on a hot streak, man.
I think they're rolling. I got to see them last week for the first time in person, and well, they look good.
So that would put them moving into the actual quarterfinals, and then we have the Headhunters versus the Reapers. I'm going to have to go with the Reapers on this one.
I agree.
I think they're picking up steam. They're going to be, I wouldn't say firing on all cylinders after this next week, but they would, I think, give the Headhunters a little bit of run for their money. That'd be a good game, I think.
Yeah, I think so, too. I'd go with the Reapers as well on that. I think they're getting hot right now. It'll be interesting to see how that matchup, if it were to happen, plays out.
Yeah. So if they advance, they would go play the Rebels, correct?
Because they would go play the Rebels.
Seed. And, so they would go play the Rebels, and then the Silverbacks would go play the Outlaws again. Do you think the Silverbacks would beat the Outlaws a second time? Down here in Phoenix.
That's an interesting one for me. It's tough to beat a team once, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially a team. I don't believe the Silverbacks ever played the Outlaws, right? I mean, being new, I don't think they've ever scrimmaged or anything like that. I don't know. I'm honestly, my feeling there, yeah, I'm probably going with the Silverbacks. I know a lot of people are gonna give me some flack on that one, but I would probably go with the Silverbacks, man, just based off what I have today, and that's obviously depending upon injuries, things of that nature. I know there was some talk on Red Zone, about some different stuff with not getting to rest injuries, all that kind of stuff, but I take the Silverbacks, man. I think they're rolling right now, and this is if it was right now.
Yeah, start tomorrow. Okay. Well, because we know this is only mid-season and this is going to change, we're not going to go any further. We're just going to leave it right there.
That works.
So, what we did this week, or I should say today, is we went through and we put together 4 different scenarios that we thought might play out over the next 5 weeks. Disclaimer, everybody. These are just hypotheticals. There's no pure data to support any of this. We won't have the final records on anything until we actually play these games. But I think that we would definitely give it a little bit of, I don't want to say controversy. What's the word I'm looking for, Bush?
I mean, it's a little bit of controversy, a little bit of hype, a little prelude into, everything.
Some of our predictions for the next coming weeks. Okay, that's a good way to put it. I think it'll be a fun time. So let's jump right in. So we're going to go right into scenario number 1. So this is our actual, it kind of looks similar to what we just looked at, but I will let you run through the spots here.
Yep. So in essence, we would have the same teams that we kind of think are going to be in that wild card weekend. Silverbacks, Hawks, Reapers. The only change there that in this particular situation, if we were to have this, I think the Owls would end up taking over from the Headhunters.
Okay.
And I feel like it can be. I feel like honestly, with everybody except for the Silverbacks right now, really could be a coin flip in terms because you kind of look at who still needs to play who, what those matchups look like, different things like that. Same from the Troya Conference also to the Saguaro Conference. Mm-hmm. Same type of thing. Could be a coin flip in terms of these seedings. So interesting. It's a couple of interesting matchups. So
cool. All right. So who do we got? We got the Silverbacks, Hawks. Who takes it?
So Silverback Hawks. I think kind of same as before. We're taking the Silverbacks there.
Mm-hmm. And then on the Reapers Owls game, who wins that one again? Or wins?
Reaper.
Because they just played each other.
I know that was actually, I didn't get a chance to watch that game in person, but I did watch some film on it. That one, the Reapers came out on top before. I think the Reapers come out ahead again on that one. I think it's going to be a close game, kind of same thing as last one, 21-13, 21-12, but I would think the Reapers are coming out with that. So.
Okay. Cool, so that moves us into the quarterfinals here. So now that we've got this is what it would look like, right? So we would have the Rebels, Reapers, the Phantoms, which one is that one? Spartans, right? Outlaws, Roll Tide, Silverbacks, Lions. So on that first matchup, Reapers, Roll Tide, who rolls through?
So in the Reapers, Rebels, let's see. Yeah, not the Roll Tide, the Rebels. The Rebels, sir. Killing me, Matt. Killing me.
This old guy, I should put my glasses on so I can see.
So if we were going Rebels, Reapers, man, I honestly, I'm taking the Rebels. I think the Rebels look really, really strong. I think that they definitely have been rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off a victory last week against the Spartans. Lorenz took them to a victory in that game. They've been looking really, really good.
That's how you're going to go into that? Lorenz took them? Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
At the end of the day, man, like I said,
all right.
They're 5-0. I know Lorenz gets a lot of shit. I know, we've even talked about it. I know a lot of it's warranted too. He brings a lot of it to himself.
Yep.
I'm not, but 5-0, regardless of what everything says, he's been doing enough to win.
Cool.
Maybe not putting up the 50 points, that with that offense I think they can put up, but they've definitely been, winning games.
Yeah. So, okay. So we got the Rebels. Sounds good. Phantom Spartans. They haven't played each other yet this year. I think they play in 2 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I would say 2 or 3 weeks. It's another one, man. I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you were a part of the Spartans organization. The Spartans have never beaten the Phantoms, right? If I can remember correctly.
Not that I can remember. Not in the 2 years I was with them. I say we at that time we had them up against the ropes going into halftime. I think it was like 24-0.
Okay.
I don't know what Stretch told them under the bleachers, and he was screaming at them, but they came back and made us look like a bunch of schoolyard girls. But props to him.
Okay. Yeah.
He outcoached the shit out of us that second half, so they won that. But yeah, I don't think the Spartans have ever beat the Phantoms, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon either.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
I'll go with the Phantoms on this one too.
Yeah, I agree. Phantoms. I think that we'll see a lot in a couple weeks when that game gets played. I don't think either team shows everything, obviously, that they have, right? Like, yeah. I know I'm gonna give Ray King a hard time, but I've heard he doesn't like to show all of his offense sometimes. So.
Okay.
But I think the Phantoms definitely.
All right, so we got the Phantoms. All right, so Roll Tide, Outlaws.
Roll Tide, Outlaws. So this is another matchup. You think about a team playing a team twice, right?
Mm-hmm.
They played earlier in the season.
Yeah.
The Outlaws got the better of that. Jake was running for his life. It was not a clean game to watch. Okay. By any means, right? So I'm taking the Roll Tide actually in this. I mean, they're coming off a win against the Bucks.
I think they come back. I think this is their, I don't want to call it upset game, but I think they pull the Outlaws win. I think the Outlaws go in there not fully expecting them to do what they're going to do.
I think they come in confident. I think the Outlaws come in real confident. Mm-hmm. I mean, they played them last time. Wasn't a close game.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the score says, it wasn't a close game. I think they come in a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on in terms of the Outlaws quarterback situation. I'm still not sold fully because I've seen multiple people at quarterback.
I haven't had a chance to talk to John like that. Actually, I haven't had a chance to watch the Outlaws play at all this season, unfortunately. But I think he's just taking it week to week, game to game. I think it's just whoever they're up against, whoever has the best packages and who can adjust to that team, that's who he goes with. Which is kind of nice. I mean, it's good and bad in a sense, but yeah, I think for me, I got to go with the Roll Tide just because, you don't know what you're getting from the Outlaws week to week. So
I agree. Yeah, in that scenario, I'm taking the Roll Tide as well. I think that they start to kind of shore things up slowly but surely, and I think they get a win.
Yeah. So all right, last matchup for the quarters, you got the Silverbacks, who are a top seed, and the Lions, the defending champions.
So I know I'm gonna get a ton of flack for this one. And as I said, I know people are already going to know what I'm about to say. But I'm taking the Silverbacks in an upset here.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk.
I think so, too.
Been a lot of talk that, the Silverbacks haven't played anybody, right? They played the Outlaws. They win their games, period. Mm-hmm. They'll finish out the season. I think they honestly go potentially undefeated coming out of the conference there.
Wow.
10-0, 9-1. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 10-0.
Okay.
But I have an upset there. I'm taking the Silverbacks over the Lions in that matchup.
Okay. Wow.
I think the Lions come in a little bit cocky in that matchup.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they come in and underestimate the Silverbacks.
I think they definitely underestimate them.
And the Silverbacks will have a full season of film and never play them, or vice versa.
I think the second part for me there, though, I think that, like I said, they come in overconfident, but I think the Silverbacks, they come in, just rolling, so.
Yep. Good. All right, so we're moving on to the next, so the semis, huh?
Yep.
All right, so now we've got the first matchup there. Phantoms, Rebels rematch. Double overtime. Wildcat to seal the deal on the Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it happens again?
I actually think that this is an intriguing matchup to me. You think about these two teams, like you said, they played earlier in the season, and it was a close game. I think the Rebels still end up pulling this one out, though. I actually don't think that this one is, as close as people think that it would be. I think that, I think Lorenz would have a good game against them. I think they get a good running game. I think the Rebels look really strong right now in that matchup.
Worst case scenario, they go back to the Wildcat and make it happen.
This is true.
So you got the Rebels. I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I think that the Rebels they're just too good right now. At every team's got little things they can work on, but when you look at them from an overall aspect, they're there. That's the team to beat right now. So I don't think the Phantoms do it, especially if they lose one or two of these next 5 weeks.
Yeah,
I think they're going to come in there a little wounded, and I know some of them vets are getting a little tired of losing, so there's a lot of pressure on them. So I think they're going to overcompensate, make mental mistakes.
I agree.
So, yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Rebels on that one, too.
All right.
So next one, Roll Tide Silverbacks.
So, intriguing game there as well. You got a couple of upsets brewing there, when you think about the teams that they beat before that. I'm getting a lot of flack in the chat, so it is what it is. Show me,
No, just wait till we get to a couple more
scenarios. Yeah, I know. We'll see. We'll kind of talk through some of the different stuff, but this matchup I think it'll be a good game. Kind of like I've said, the Silverbacks have been rolling. I'll be honest with you, it's funny. They're the one team that I can say this entire season that I saw not one, and mind you, I wasn't over there the whole time on their sideline. But any time that I happened to be over there near their sideline, they were, with their coaches. They were going over plays, things that were going on.
Yeah.
Never once did I see them get down on each other in any manner, no matter what. Now, mind you, they were winning the game handily. But even when something would go wrong, they didn't.
Yeah.
They never got down on each other. So that's one thing I can say that separates them from a lot of the different teams. But I'm taking the Silverbacks in this one over the Roll Tide.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think if the Silverbacks can make it past the lines, they're going to be. And this scenario played out with the Roll Tide. I think the Roll Tide's going to come in a little over the top.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Just because that Silverbacks are from the different conference, so
kind of the same thing. With the Lions, they come in a little bit cocky.
Yeah. So
especially after a big win the previous week. So
yeah, especially with that. So yeah, so Silverbacks. All right, so we got the Rebels, Silverbacks going into the championship, huh?
Yeah, in this scenario, yeah, Rebels versus the Silverbacks. A lot of talk once again going back and forth. Not so much between these two teams, but just the Silverbacks basically feel super disrespected. So
the Silverbacks do?
Yeah, I mean they don't get the respect that they feel they deserve. 5-0.
Not from you and me.
No, not from us. I'm talking about from the league, from people in the league, players. Things of that nature.
I used to tell the Spartans in our first year when we were the underdogs, we have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Right? Everything to gain but nothing to lose. Silverbacks, if you're listening to me, you have everything to gain, nothing to lose. Because everybody expects you to lose. So when you lose, it's no big deal. When the Rebels lose, however, that's a whole other story. Because they expect them to win every single game now. So continue with that underdog mentality. Keep, every week to week. But it doesn't negate what we're about to say. If I had to choose, I think the Rebels give the Silverbacks a run for their money. I don't think the Silverbacks are going to play anything like the Rebels. They're in a regular season. At all. Discipline, strength, game schemes, coaching, versatility of players. 5 weeks ago, I didn't think the Rebels were going to win one game, to be honest with you. I thought they were going to have too many turmoil issues going on with their merger and just all the stuff that came along with that. But Ed's doing a great job proving me wrong.
Yeah, true.
But at the end of the day, I think if this is the championship that you and I are going to go watch, then I'm putting my money on the Rebels.
Yeah, I agree. I think in this one, I don't think it's a blowout.
No.
I think that it's a good game, but if we're going with that, I think the Rebels are winning this one. I would kind of go with like a 28-14 kind of game, 2-score game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Cool. Any comments?
No, I mean they're in here loving it in the chat. They're in there,
they may not be loving it when we get to scenario 3 and 4.
They're not loving this one either. But it is what it is. Like I said, like I said, prove me wrong. I'd love to. Hopefully it lights a fire for y'all if that's what y'all need or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just something to talk about.
It is what it is. All right, cool. So we got the Rebels winning that went out on scenario 1. Okay, let's go into scenario 2. So here we got the similar, right? I don't think we changed the wild card up any. I think that's where we kind of agreed that's where those top 4 teams are going to land. But I do know we moved some seeding around.
Yeah, moved a little bit of the seeding.
Quarters. So Silverbacks over the Hawks.
Yep.
Right, and then we got the Reapers, I believe, over the.
Yeah, Reapers still over the Owls. I don't think that changes. I don't think that's going to change in terms of any of our, discussions today. Okay. I think that those are kind of just 2 teams that have been rolling.
Yeah, they're just getting better week to week, I think, in my opinion. So, all right, so that puts us into the actual playoffs. So we've got the Rebels, the Reapers. Too many R's up there. Phantoms, Roll Tide, Outlaws, Spartans, Silverbacks, Lions. So really, I think the only change we did was moved a couple of those middle of the standings around, I think. Spartans are in, and then the other team is out.
Yep.
So obviously I'm going to put my money on the Rebels. Like there's no, they play any any Chihuahua conference team. I think they welcome them to the league. So, Phantoms, Outlaws. I think that was our. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so Rebels over the Reapers. I still agree with that one here.
Yep. All right, so we're in scenario 2. Sorry.
Yep, scenario 2.
I was looking at the other brackets.
Yep.
So we got Phantoms, Roll Tide. Who goes?
I think that's a good game. Let me think about that one here. I think I'm probably going to end up going with the Phantoms on that one. I think that it's I think do they play each other? Have they already played?
Trying
to remember back.
They play each other this upcoming weekend.
I think it's after the bye, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All the every team will play every team in their conference.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember if they played each other yet. I don't remember them playing each other. So
not like last season where there was a few games where teams didn't play each other at all. This year, everybody plays everybody in their conference at least once.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
So at least get to see them at least once.
Okay, that's right.
It's those crossover games that may not have developed to where you get to see, Silverbacks played Outlaws. So I don't know if they'll, But anyways, so we got the Phantoms, right?
Yeah, I think the Phantoms win that game. I think, defense has been looking pretty good. It'll be interesting to see that matchup. I'm interested to watch that. It looks like that actually is in 2 weeks, not next week. Okay. So interested to watch this. That's right. The Thunder play the Roll Tide. Oh, that's actually a really big game. When you think about that. But standings, we'll kind of come to that. You think about standings. But yeah, I think the Phantoms come out on top over the Roll Tide there.
Okay. I agree with you. I think the Phantoms will roll through that first quarterfinal, and then they'll just roll right into the semis against the Rebels.
All right.
So we got the Outlaws Spartans game. It's always been a fun match to watch year to year.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely always fun to see.
This is the matchup that created for the man next to me, Spartans motto. So
okay.
This matchup every year to some of those veterans still on the team, I think it's got a little bit of a nostalgia for them. But we'll see. They play each other, I think, in 2 to 3 weeks. I'll have to look at the schedule. It gets released again on tomorrow. So, but anyways, I'm gonna have to go with my boys on this one. I think with John, I don't want to say he's changing things week to week to week, but it's kind of feeling that way. So we don't know who we're going to get. So I'm going to go with the old reliable. I think the Spartans get all their kinks worked out by the time this comes around. Hopefully they have no screw-ups in the last game of the week and have any suspensions going into playoffs. But I've seen worse things happen, but I'm going to give it to the Spartans on this one.
Okay, so I could see that. Definitely could see the Spartans. I mean, we'll be a few weeks from now. Obviously they'll have ironed out the kinks. Hopefully get any internal drama. Anything like that might be going on. Different nonsense.
Yeah.
Ironed out. Hopefully get that all taken care of, and just you're hoping at that point all these teams are rolling with no, it's a different playoff beast rather than regular season.
I think if you haven't got it figured out by the end of week 6 going into week 7, I don't know if you'll get it figured out.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. You want to hit the ground running, and sometimes if that doesn't happen,
sometimes it doesn't. So,
but we take the Spartans there. I think that's an intriguing matchup. But like you said, my biggest thing is the inconsistency. With the Outlaws. I think the Outlaws are a great team, and I think that, they can also make a run to the championship as well. I mean, here we have them coming out in the quarterfinals, against a good team. But I think that, I think that they can definitely make a run. Everybody always says, I think Otis mentioned it earlier. I think I saw Otis Frazier pop in here and say they win. Outlaws win in the playoffs. That's what he said. So they maybe regular season, as long as they get in.
Mm-hmm.
They have a chance, so be interesting. But I think the Spartans.
Okay,
take that.
And then the Silverbacks Lions. I think I go the opposite of the upset from the last scenario. We put the Lions winning this game.
Okay, do you take the Lions there?
Yep, I would take the Lions on this one, just to see what it looks like if they did win this game. Since we got them, I think in every single one, we have them. Playing the Silverbacks, I believe, moving forward. But
I think that'll be an interesting matchup again. Like I said, I feel like that one can go either way. But for the purpose of this, we'll go with the Lions.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so we got the 4. So we're going into now the semifinals. All right. So we got the Rebels versus the Phantoms on this one.
Okay.
Like we did with the Lions, I think I don't want to call this the upset, but we have the Phantoms. I have the Phantoms winning the Rebels. Not by much, probably a 2-point conversion, a field goal, within one possession for sure. But I'm putting my money on the Phantoms in this scenario.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those that, I don't know if like you said, I don't know if I would call it an upset per se, right?
Yeah.
But, based upon the seeding, it would be. But this is one kind of like I talked about earlier, the Outlaws making a run, Phantoms are that same team that if they're clicking, they can make a run as well.
Oh,
so,
yeah, for sure.
You have the Phantoms going in this one, I think we talked about. So,
yeah.
Okay.
All right, and then the Lions, Spartans. I'll let you go.
So I think that one's another, that'll be a rematch. That'll be one that, a lot of these matchups we're gonna see teams playing more than playing more than once, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be good. I think the Spartans actually end up taking this one. I think that Trey ends up having a big game in that one.
Yeah.
And I give a lot of flack to the the Spartans DBs. I think that one of them makes a big play in this game because the Lions are gonna come in and do what they do, run the ball, throw the ball, play sound. But I think Spartans take that.
Yeah.
In a rematch.
I have to agree with you on this one. I think the Spartans don't let that loss happen again, and I think they're a little more motivated if they get to this particular level with that team. This is a rematch from I think our first year semifinal game, when the Spartans didn't know the rules, and this is when the Lions won the championship with Fisher, and he called. There was a flag with I think there was 10 seconds left in the game.
Okay.
And it was second down, or it might have been first down. I don't remember the downs. Well, while the AD was down in bounds, so the clock was stopped for the flag. Fisher knew this, that if it was waved off, they would start it as soon as the ball was set.
Right, yep.
So while the referees were doing their thing, trying to figure out what the call was, Spartans are screaming at each other on like the 4 or 5 yard line. Fisher puts 2 plays into the huddle.
Yep, makes sense.
ball, the flag gets picked up and waved. Now the Spartans are screaming because it should have been a runoff.
Okay, makes sense.
But there was no foul. So they set the ball, clock goes, runs a play, AD runs out of bounds like the 1 yard line. So there's like 3 seconds left in the game. Right away, no huddle, straight to the play, set the ball, they score, Lions win, go to the championship. So I do not think that happens again with Aaron Wilkins as the coach.
Okay.
I think he's too smart to recognize those scenarios, and he's not going to let that happen again. So I'm going with the Spartans on the Lions. If we get down to that nitty-gritty, down, within 3 or 4 points with seconds left kind of scenario.
All right.
Now, if the Lions pull it out and start running away with the game, obviously, I don't think the Spartans recover. But if they can keep it within a touchdown, within a grasp, I think the Spartans pull out a win. Go from there.
They said you look like you about to cry on a past memory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's over here tearing up. It's not.
I'm not even tearing up. I was more embarrassed that the damn Spartans didn't know the effing rules.
I mean, hey.
That's on them. But, I just, that's one, and they're screaming at me from the sideline to change the play. And I'm like, that's the right call. I don't want me to. Even I knew that. So, yeah. But anyways, these guys, man. Anyways.
I had to give you a hard time. I haven't really been reading. I've been reading some of the comments, but.
I only remember that vaguely because it was such a close game. So me and Raph went and stood on the sidelines right there to make sure that if anything because it was getting a little heated.
Right.
They were starting to get a little scuffly. So we wanted to make sure we were on the sidelines in case anything happens.
Makes sense.
So we were just standing right there. So, but yeah. So Rebels, Spartans, right?
Yep. Rebels, Phantoms, Spartans in the championship.
Phantoms, Spartans. Do you think the Phantoms beat the Spartans again?
I personally do. I think that the Phantoms beat the Spartans in this matchup if these two teams play. I think it kind of comes back to, I said the week before, I think the Spartans DBs make some big plays.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in this matchup, I think the Phantoms come out on top in this one. I think that I want to say Marco has a big game in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of goes from there. A guy that I haven't seen get involved that I think actually could make an impact if they play him is at tight end. He's normally blocking, but DeAndre Roberts.
Yep.
He's a factor in the run game, has great hands, but I don't think I've seen the ball go his way very much. I know he's been playing offensive line,
mm-hmm.
In a different number, but I think that he, potentially has a touchdown in that game if he ends up playing offense. But if not on defense, I think he makes a big play too. So,
okay,
I would take the Phantoms there.
Phantoms, I got you on that one. The Phantoms also. I definitely think that this will be the Spartans' Achilles heel for as long as those two teams are in the same league, or until a major change happens at coaching and players and things like that. But as long as these two teams can, see each other with those coaching staffs and the leaders and captains they have, it's going to be the same outcome every time.
Okay,
Phantoms.
so we take the Phantoms there. All right.
So the Phantoms for the 2021 championship for that scenario, huh?
Okay.
Good for them.
That'd be, like I said, I think that'd be an interesting one to kind of play out and see how, I'm interested to see how some of these, go.
Yeah. So, all right, so we got the Rebels with one scenario. We got the Phantoms for the second scenario.
Yep.
Let's roll into our third one. Obviously, it looks almost identical, but if anybody's paying attention, the seedings is what's getting switched around based off of what we think these teams are going to finish at. As we said earlier, the Chihuahua is pretty much, we've kind of decided that that's probably going to stay exactly the way it is, unless something really crazy happens. It's going to be tough for some of those undefeated teams, winless teams to come back and make the playoffs. I just don't know if you're 0-5 if there's an opportunity, because we talked about earlier, like you finish 5-5. Now there's 4 teams 5-5, and now it comes down to head-to-head and then points against or points allowed.
Yeah.
Points allowed. So those of you guys that are in the middle of the pack right now, pay attention to how many points you let the other team score. That could come down to you making the playoffs or not.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not points for.
Yeah.
It's not points for. I think a lot of people get that mixed up. They think that, we got to put up 70 points to have a point differential.
That was our first year.
Yeah.
This year, the last 2 years, it's points against. So how many points your defense is allowed to be put on the board.
So, okay.
So, yeah.
I think the only way that I think that with any of these, and I know in our matchups, we've got, the seeding's pretty locked in with the Choya Conference.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only other team there that we didn't mention is the Headhunters. So I think that if any of these teams flip-flop, obviously to me it would be the Headhunters that pop into one of those spots. I think that could, I know for these we didn't do that, but that would be the only other team that I could see popping in there. I don't think that any of the other teams there, I don't see them being able to put it all together when it really matters, in like a win, a last-ditch win type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Against a team like one of these, teams that's already in. So,
Mm-hmm.
But it would be interesting to see. I know those matchups are coming up these next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So.
I think by week 8, we're going to really see who's in and who's out. Guaranteed some will be out if they don't win a game. The ones that are, in the 4, 5, 6 spots right now in both conferences, I think if they win, lose, it's gonna change week to week to week. I don't think we'll know until the 7:00 game on the 10th week of who's, we talked about it like that. That could be a determining of who's in and who's out based on who wins and loses that game. So, I think it's definitely going to be a fun 5 weeks for sure. So we got the Silverbacks again and the Reapers, I believe.
Yep,
right?
Silverbacks and the Reapers coming out of that again. Yep.
Cool. So that puts us back to the Rebels Reapers.
Yep. So I think continuous theme there. Taking the Rebels in that matchup.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I don't foresee that changing at all. I know we have in each one of our scenarios. I think the Rebels roll through that. I think it's a better game than a lot of teams think, or a lot of people think. But still, definitely think the Rebels come through there.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think the Reapers are ready for a Rebels style team yet. I don't think they're disciplined enough to handle those guys.
I'm interested to see how they would be. I know that we've kind of talked about. I gave Tyler some props with the team, recently, and they're turning around what they kind of were in the past, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if they hold. I don't know if if them making this would be the first time that they would be making the playoffs, and coming out with a first round win. I don't know. It starts to the pressure starts to come down a little bit. So. Yeah.
Funny, speak of Tyler, I saw on Instagram he had a Convict U shirt.
I saw that. I want to say that was in the Titans game.
Yeah,
or something like that.
That had me rolling. I commented on it, but hey, you know what, man? If you're winning, embrace it. Everybody needs that second chance. But rolling on to the next matchup, we got the Outlaws Spartans.
So I know we did this a little bit different before, so
yeah, I think
I'll let you go.
Yeah, I think the Outlaws win this one. Versus the last time, last scenario when they played each other, we flip it, and the Outlaws, pull rabbit out of their hat. They figure out some magic button. John T registers, 5 hours ago, and all of a sudden he's back.
I mean, so. he might still, isn't he on the roster still?
I think he's on as a. I'll have to look and see. But I do.
He'll upset somebody being petty.
Yeah. So
heckle somebody into a flag. I love it.
Yep. So I think the Outlaws would pull this matchup out.
All right. So and then we'd come with what the Phantoms, the Roll Tide.
Yep.
So I think we had that matchup in a previous one as well, just on some different seeding.
Mm-hmm.
Still taking the Phantoms on that one. I don't think that changes.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that matchup's going to be that matchup no matter when they see each other between now and the end of the season. Or whenever they get knocked out, whoever gets knocked out. But yeah, I definitely, I think the Phantoms, I don't say they run through the Roll Tide by no means, but I do think they get a touchdown and field goal more, something of that nature.
So a 10-point game, give or take.
Yeah.
Could see that.
Then the Silverbacks Lions, I think I got the Lions on this one, pulling this one out to advance to the semis.
Yeah, I know in the one we took the Silverbacks, but for the purposes of kind of some of these matchups, how we'll see how they play out potentially. take the Lions and move them forward.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that puts us into the semifinals going into May 29th.
First thing I'll say there, it's going to be hot.
It's going to be hot.
It's going to be hot even just in general. It was hot this past weekend.
Yeah.
So
bring those pop-ups. We'll have, I think we ordered some more water jugs to get, 3 or 4 on the sidelines at both the fields. So, but yeah, we're definitely moving forward. So, Rebels Outlaws. This is always a fun game.
Was this a championship a couple of years ago? Or was it a semifinal? I think they might have met in the semis.
Was it the semis when the Rebels went the first year in 2017? Well, I say first year because that was my first year.
Yeah.
But I think this might have been when they went to the ship to play the Pede.
Okay.
That might have been the semifinals then.
That was right because I think the Rebels won that year, right?
Yeah, with 26
Okay, yeah, that was the guy they won. Okay. So, yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. That's when I found out who Ed Love really was, like who he was as an owner and just kind of how he could build a team together. I thought I was good at getting guys to work on, for one common goal, but he definitely, I took inspiration from him in that year when he went from being the Warlords and took over that team to switching it back to the Rebels. And then by the end of the season, 26 guys that were just, I think most of them are still on his current team.
Yeah,
now.
they got a lot of that core is still there, and they've added around. So that's
the way.
Been good.
That's the year Trey went. Spartan's current quarterback went to win that game.
Okay, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, that's when he. That's when we got to introduce ourselves to old Sean, old man Lanzarato. But so back to the matchups. Yep. Man, we need some freaking whiskey and cigars in here.
I know, right?
Something.
We can work on it.
I don't know, man. We'll figure it out.
Work on it. I know. I was sipping some Crown before I came up here.
Oh,
so,
you didn't share any with me?
Wow, there was only a little bit.
That's freaking horseradish, man. Just straight horseradish.
I love it, horseradish. Horseradish is disgusting, by the way, but
yep,
I love it.
All right,
but yeah, on this one, I think I'm gonna take the Outlaws on this one. Kind of like we were talking about earlier. I feel like the Outlaws, I don't think it's the offense that gets it done though. I think it's their defense that gets it done. The defense has always been a strong point for the Outlaws.
Yep.
I think the defense makes plays. I think that this one, I think that this is a close game, but I think the Outlaws get it done there in that matchup.
Okay. So we got the under seed, or lower seed, taking that game. All right. And then the Phantoms Lions game.
Interesting game again, kind of like we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I think the let's see here. I think go with and once again, I know these guys are going to be upset.
It doesn't
whatever.
matter.
I don't care. It is what it is. But I think the Phantoms end up taking that one over the Lions. I think that's like a 7-6 type of game.
Yeah.
I think it's a really close game.
Yeah.
But I think the Phantoms get the job done. I think they run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they get the job done in that game.
I think AD gets his revenge from the last game they lost, so I think he gets his kudos in that game.
So yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Out here making all kinds of noise, right?
I know, man. They only saw all the stuff all around us outside of frame.
Right.
So, all right. So we got the Outlaws and the Phantoms going to the championship.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they played each other. No. Did they? Yeah,
I believe they did, yeah.
And that's when the Phantoms lost.
Yeah, the Outlaws, the Outlaws.
The GFL 2015, I think?
I believe so.
14?
Yeah, I want to say it was. Yeah, I don't recall. I know they played each other, and the Outlaws ended up winning the championship because.
I know there's got to be some Outlaws on there.
Yeah.
I know. Polchin, are you watching? What year was that when you guys played the Phantoms? We'll circle back to you.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. But I know that this was definitely. I know it was a championship game.
Yeah.
Because I remember, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Outlaws won it twice back to back.
Back to back, yeah. I think that first win, apparently there was only 5 or 6 teams in the league. If my memory serves, there's been so much moving around in the last 10 years that even my 5 years in the league, so I'm a little confused.
But yeah, we got the Outlaws Phantoms. I don't know. I feel like for me, if it's these two teams again, I don't think the Phantoms have never. Well, let me not say never, but as the Phantoms, they haven't won a championship.
No.
But I know that. That's obviously the ultimate goal for each team every year. I think that the Phantoms actually win this game against the Outlaws. I think it's another close game, more like a 14-7 game, 14-6 game.
Yeah.
But I think the Phantoms win it again. They get their first championship. They get over that hump. I know they've won as a previous team. In other leagues. I think the AZFL. I think they were a different team, the Sting. And they won some championships and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I have heard Derek say they did win a ring prior to the Phantoms' conception.
Yeah.
Or Miss Amy came into the picture as an owner.
Okay.
I may be wrong, but I think that's what I've gathered over the few years of knowing them. I know that's Derek's ultimate goal. As soon as he wins a ring, he's hanging it up. But I hope he doesn't.
Okay.
For that franchise's sake of existence. I hope he continues as an owner. So you got the Phantoms, huh?
Yeah. Take the Phantoms there.
Taking the Phantoms too. I think that I don't think the Outlaws beat them again in a championship. So fun.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good game. I think I think that'll be a fun one to watch. So
yeah. Any comments in there we need to address? I know.
No, everybody's just a lot of the Lions guys upset that they're not getting the respect. They're technically technically still the champs.
Yeah.
Which I respect. I don't take anything away from them. In that manner, I don't. They're a great team. I'm not. I'm not going to sit here and say they're not a good team. Once again, it's just my thoughts. Everybody's going to get upset about whatever they want to. You're hating us for whatever reason. I just think that I don't think they make the championship.
Like I just mentioned about the Silverbacks, you guys continue to be the underdogs. If that's how they feel, then use that to fuel your fire and keep winning games. And we'll eat our mud pies whenever it comes that time. Yeah.
And like I said, I'm interested to see when we actually see what seeding looks like. These are obviously
it's all hypothetical.
Hypothetical predictions, whatever you want to call it. When we actually lock down some matchups, I see who's hurt, who's not hurt. I go in and actually do all my research at that time when these games are getting ready to be played. Then I'll have a different, maybe a different opinion on different stuff. But
yeah. Hey. We'll see how it is. That's the fun part. All right. So we got one more scenario rolled up, and then we'll open it up.
Sounds good.
So I think here we're showing a different group of seating for the Chihuahua Conference.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think it changes the outcome.
No, I don't think.
I still see the Silverbacks over the Owls. Or over the Owls, not still. I still see the Silverbacks winning. And then also the Reapers, if they continue to stay hot and going into that. That game, though, with the Hawks, wouldn't be surprised if they did win.
I was going to say, you're talking about the Hawks winning that game?
Yeah, I'm just saying there is a high possibility.
Yeah.
The only reason I think that I'm sticking with the Reapers, only because I think the Hawks every week have had somebody suspended. A key player has been out.
Yeah.
This next week coming up, I think Rome's out. That's one of their star, captains.
Okay.
They had one of their top defensive players out after week 1. So I think every week they've had some key people. I know their head coach had some family things come up, so he was out one weekend. So
yeah, gotcha.
Every week there's something going on. Now, in the flip side with the Reapers, they have enough talent to where if somebody's out, somebody can step into that role. So they have the depth, I think, so that's the only reason I would go with the Reapers as of today. But as you just mentioned, once we get the true seeding, we know who's truly going to play the game, who's hurt, who's not,
who's suspended. You name it. Yeah.
What time they play, where they play, all of that stuff. So, but yeah, I'm going to go with the Reapers on that Hawks matchup right there. All right, so here's our actual playoffs. So we got the Rebels and the Reapers going at it. I think it's kind of one of those things. Like, it's going to be the same thing. The Rebels are going to win their first round.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see that changing in
Not at
any
all.
shape or form, especially if they're playing one of the lower seeds or the other conference teams. So
definitely agree. Could you imagine though? Could you imagine if I can't even. I don't think I know we don't have it in any of our brackets. I don't think that. I hate to say it, but, I don't think anybody outside of, and this is how it, in essence, to me, I could care less. You think about, I didn't care, if we were doing this and I was actually still playing at this point, I didn't care who picked who didn't,
Yeah.
That was something we used that as bulletin more, material. But could you imagine if the Reapers beat the Rebels?
Oh, man.
Or if you, kind of like we talked about earlier, a team like the Silverbacks come out and beat the Lions, something like that. Could you imagine?
If the Reapers beat the Rebels, I don't think we'd ever see Ed again. I think he would officially retire and sell the team off, and he would just. Oh yeah, because I know I would.
Are we talking about in playoffs? We just talking about it in general.
Either one.
Oh wow.
I'm talking about. Well, we're looking at the scenario in the playoffs right now, but what I'm saying is, if the Reapers beat the Rebels,
I know that's not what we have. I don't think it happens, but I mean, like I said, hey, at the end of the day, you got to play the games.
Yep.
Right, everybody.
You got to play those, yeah.
You got to play whoever's in front of you, but I still, like I said, I'm going with the, the Rebels over the Reapers on that one. But I'm just, you never know. Just imagine.
Hey,
imagine a world.
I mean, so many things could happen. Lorenz could get hurt playing flag. I know Twani messed his ankle up first week, I think, of the season playing flag. Lorenz is super. He's into semi-pro baseball. He's into flag. He's into so many different sports and he's working out. Like, he can hurt himself. Bench pressing. I mean, who knows?
Right.
You lose your quarterback night. Now you got to go to the backup who, as far as I know, as of today, hasn't played a game yet. Lorenz is taking every snap besides those Wildcats.
Right.
I don't think they put another quarterback in. So there's a lot of things going to happen in 5 weeks.
You're not wrong. Obviously, my biggest thing with all of these, I want to see a team at their, full strength. I want to see, everybody healthy, ready to play, no suspensions, whatever the case might be. Like, want to see every team at full strength, so that way there's no, well, if this person was here or whatever. So
we know that'll happen.
I know it'll happen regardless. It'll be hey, our water boy wasn't here that week. We didn't have the, you didn't get water for me, and quick enough. Whatever.
They turned the sprinklers on at practice on Wednesday while we were still on the field.
Whatever. So, but yeah, we'll taking the Rebels still.
Okay. And then the Phantoms, Roll Tide. I think this is a flip. I think we're calling this, quote, upset, or, I don't call it upset, but the Roll Tide do what they did to the Bucks.
This. Yeah, I think coming off that big win, I was finally got to see film of the play. Crazy looking play.
What you didn't see, we'll talk about it on Friday, but what you didn't see was the arrogance and boastful of the Bucks players to the Roll Tide sideline.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
But
we'll save that.
I'll remind everybody listening, pride before the fall. Any of you that grew up in somewhat of a religious house or church, pride before the fall. If you still have points left, one possession, let's put it that way, the game's not over till the zeros hit. And I think the Roll Tide proved that. Jake kind of, in my own way, I felt like he kind of shut me up a little bit, No pick six on that throw, but anyhow.
Yeah.
So.
And that one we would take for the upset, just for discussion purposes. Take the Tide there.
Yeah. I think they're gonna have to pull every trick out of their hat. They're gonna have to have everybody on, all the starters, superstars on the Roll Tide have to be in that game. I don't see them rolling in with second string hurt dudes and pulling that off. But if they can finish strong and the coaches can use all the talent that they have at their exposure, then they'll be able to pull it off. So Spartans Outlaws.
So Spartans Outlaws, I think this was another matchup that we kind of talked about. For this scenario, we'll go with the Spartans over the Outlaws.
Yeah, this is really a coin toss with those two teams play each other.
Yeah,
it's any given Saturday with those guys. I mean, the 2 years I had the team, I think we beat them our first year, and I think we lost our second year to them. But the same scenario, it was just flipped, So, but yeah, those two teams definitely, Aaron and Aaron with the Spartans, the coach there, and John Polchin, they always play a good match with each other.
It's a good chess match.
Yeah, it's a good strategy game for both guys. And, John watches a lot of film on some of these teams. So he definitely tries to give his input and try to figure out how to get that handled. But
yep.
I think we're going with the Spartans on this one.
Yep.
So.
And then I think we got Silverbacks Lions.
Yep. I think we're back to the disrespectful part here, but I think the Silverbacks pull this one out.
Yeah, we'll go with that for this scenario. Like I said, I don't know. Lions. We'll see. So yeah, we'll take the Silverbacks in this one just for discussion purposes.
Yeah. Well, I think so too. I mean, there's technically 10 teams to hit in the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, how many scenarios is that if we played them all out? I think it's over like 800 or something like that if you do the math. I mean, it's ridiculous. So
yeah, I mean, really with any of these, like I said, you're going to see a flip in some of these matchups. I think you end up seeing some of these matchups.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll end up seeing
sure.
what happens, and obviously, I'm sure somebody will save this video, pull it back up.
Whatever, oh yeah, so I'm sure they'll make highlight videos of us over here chirping and
hey, that's fine. Like I said, we can discuss it at that point.
Hey, right now, the more content, the better. So, all right, so that puts us Silverbacks over the Lions.
Yep.
Cool. It takes us into the semis, which will kind of play it out here. Just down to almost the last part of it. So I'll let you go first on that one.
So with this one, a rematch of the game of the week. 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I think the Rebels win this one again. I don't think it's quite as bad as it was before. The 45-2. I think it's a closer game, but I still think that the Rebels pull it out. I'm going to maybe go. We'll say like 28, 10 maybe 28-12.
Yeah, I was thinking 28-12.
Think it's a closer game.
Because if you watch the actual footage, the Roll Tide were moving the ball 40, 50 yards in those first couple of drives. They just had one mistake, and unfortunately, it cost them points.
Yeah, each time. Yeah,
each time. And I think once that happened, I think that they, I think the team just shut down. So if they go into this matchup with themselves, even when there's mistakes and things like that, I could see the Roll Tide pulling it out. But at the same time, the Rebels are just on a roll right now. And I think that's a little bit of doubt's going to creep in on the Roll Tide. And as I've said in the stands in the previous years, once the Rebels' defense and offense, they taste the blood in the water, it's over, man.
Yeah, they just get going. They feed off that.
Yeah, they feed off of that. And, so I'm going to have to go with the Rebels on this one.
Cool, that works. And then Silverbacks Spartans.
It could go either way, especially if the way both teams are playing right now. I think the Spartans finish strong. I think they definitely, finish how they should and, keep firing through the playoffs. I think they're going to pull that win out.
It'll be an interesting thing to, I think that'll be an interesting game to watch. I actually hope that some of these, I really want to see some of these matchups. I think that would be a good game. But yeah, if we go with the Spartans, so we'd have what? I think that, what does that give us then, actually, now that I think about it? Wait a minute. That'd be what, a Rebels Spartans.
Rebels Spartan rematch from this last week.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's a rematch. This would be a real. I didn't get to watch. This one. There was games over at Sunny Slope, but
I got to watch it. It was a good game. Definitely went in the Rebels' favor because the Spartans made too many mistakes, too many muffed throws. I mean, they had throws down the field. Like I remember LaRue was wide open. There was Martwan was wide open. I think Draven had a couple big open, and Trey just muffed the throw.
Okay.
And then you flip the ball. Lorenz had a dude wide open, drops a freaking dime right into the dude's hands, full speed. I mean, it looked like an NFL throw. It was beautiful. I'll give them that credit. That first long pass touchdown they scored, beautiful. And they did it again. a couple series later. So, but I did hear through the grapevine and through various sources that the Rebels were a little bit underestimated the Spartans a little bit.
Okay.
They underestimated a couple of players and some big runs in the defense. I don't know if you heard, but it looked like they added a new linebacker to the roster.
For who? The
Spartans.
Okay.
And I don't think that I got to give some credit to the Spartans for keeping that under wraps. I don't think the Rebels were prepared for that guy, and he was flying number 39. I don't even know his name, flying all over the field. So
okay.
If he's in this game, and he's got 6 weeks to prep and get into the team, because I know he's a new addition to the team. So, yeah, everybody's gonna hate me now, but I'm going Spartans on this one.
Okay. I'm gonna disagree with you on it. So
okay.
I'm taking the Rebels. Somebody just mentioned, and I think it was what was the score? I think it was 12-7. I think was the score. 13-7. I think was the final score. I don't recall the score, but I know it was a one-score game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 12-7, I believe.
But I know that there was a TD called back with the Rebels. So, I know that's one. It might have been a 2-score game instead of a 1-score game.
Yeah.
I know that Rico, I think, had a TD that was called back on a penalty, I believe. Have to go back and watch, but I know he mentioned it. It was a TD called back.
Rico.
Number 12 receiver.
Rico
or
Streets.
No. Yeah, Rico Streets. Yeah. So I know he was out there looking. He was out there dusting people.
Oh yeah, he was smoking.
It basically looked like people were just standing still. He was just running by people.
I'm not a game field analyst person, but I can testify as a witness and a fan watching the game. Just someone sitting in the stands. Rico was killing that secondary.
Yeah, he was moving. He was definitely doing his thing.
But I don't think that happens again.
And I believe he's actually, I want to say, somebody just mentioned it, number 13, excuse me. I know he's had a few different numbers throughout the years, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah.
But definitely doing his thing. But yeah, I think the Rebels win it. Win it. I think it's a, I think that, like I said, I gave Lorenz his flowers a little bit at the beginning too. I think that, everybody said the piece for me here is everybody says that he can't get it done. He can't win a championship.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing you think about, like I've played with him in flag, and stuff like that. And that's what everybody says. He can't put up a lot of stats, do different things, but he doesn't win the big game.
Yeah.
Is what a lot of people say. And, it's true. I mean, he's won some championships in flag, and different things, but I think that he has a big game. I think that, it's personal for him. It was personal for him last week.
Yeah.
But I think that he comes in and he wants to prove a point.
Correct.
And I think that he has a pretty big game in that game. I think they win. So I'm going to say I think actually it's a higher scoring game than what we saw before.
Oh yeah, I think both teams have.
But I think things. 20, we'll say 24 to 18. Maybe still a 6-point game, but I think the Rebels still take it. So.
Wow. Okay.
I think that'll be any of these matchups. I think could be fun.
Oh, they're all going to be fun to watch. I'm excited for playoffs. I know we're getting some slack over the last week of how it's broke down, but this was all covered in July and June, or June and July of last year. So all the owners knew about it. All the captains, the coaches that came to those meetings. We talked about it 2 weeks before the season started. How does it affect with the sergeants? We talk about all that stuff. I apologize to the players if their owners and coaches didn't relay that stuff down to them. I take a little fault for that, for not having it on the actual league side. It's in the bylaws, but I think, we're going to definitely work on getting ourselves an actual visual. But we did have a visual for the owners and the head coaches when we talked about it. I showed it to you earlier this week of how it breaks down. It was in the PowerPoint. So now that we're in week 5 and people are starting to see that it's going to, for better lack of words, screw them, now they want to talk about changing it. No. I don't think that some of those Chihuahua teams would have that record if they played Saguaro teams more than once.
Yeah, and that's where I'm interested. You bring that up, and it's one I think about. I think about how it was, because it was like that last year, right? Wasn't it just everybody play everybody kind of thing?
It was basically a round robin, and top 8 teams made it. and we had teams just getting blown out every single week, and it was, we still got teams getting blown out every week, but it was a little different because, if you watch the, who was it that played the Tigers? Was it the Reapers?
Reapers, yeah.
A lot of that was the mistakes, and the undiscipline on the Tigers, and we're getting off track. But my point is, last year when the Rebels played the Valor, they just beat them up.
I don't even. Yeah, let's not bring the Valor up. I hate to say it.
But my point is, like,
I get where you're going with it.
Like, it wasn't just the Tigers, dug some of their own hole.
Yeah.
That Valor Rebels game, Rebels were just.
We'll move on from that. I don't mean to stop you. I'm sorry. I get frustrated every time we talk about that. I hear anybody bring up the Valor.
Yeah.
I've never seen, and I won't go down the rabbit hole on that, but I've never seen a team quit, the way that took place. So I won't go there. I don't know. But here's the thing. You bring up the scheduling, and we talk about the different records with certain teams, and literally if you just put it into a randomizer and it came out however it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Funny part is I still feel like we get complaints. You're never going to be able to make everybody happy, but I'm interested to see when all this shakes out in terms of the way I feel like it's coming out competitive this year.
Oh yeah.
No matter how it ends up shaking out in terms of playoffs for the the Choya Conference or anything like that, I feel like it's competitive from those first, probably I'd say 5 or 6 teams,
mm-hmm.
and then obviously all the way to, what is it? I think all 7 teams are still in contention, or 7 out of the 8 teams, or what is it? 6 out of the 7 teams?
6 out of
the top. 6 out of the 7 teams, or
6 out of 8 on the top.
6 out of 8 are still in the run. Well, no, 7 out of 8 are still in running, right? The only team that right now, technically, the Bucks are still in the running, but they need.
Oh, they got to win 4 out of 5.
They would have to pretty much almost win out. They would in essence have to win out, and obviously depending on matchups. But I just think it's competitive from the top to the bottom. And I've seen people that have said that, and I think that, obviously at the end of the day, we'll revisit in the off season.
Yeah.
See what that looks like.
Well, because I know our first year there was a huge separation between, the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
Or the split. There was a lot of, 9 and 1, 8, and then there was a lot of like 3 and 7s.
Right.
Here, like I feel like there's a couple in every record that you go down the list. It's going to be interesting to see how those, I would say from 3 down to 8 in the Saguaro Conference, those are the teams to watch.
Yeah.
I think if the Rebels can win 2 to 3 out of the next 5, they stay in the number 1 seed if they don't go undefeated. If they win 2 or 3 of those upcoming games. And in the second, I have to look at the standings because it's changing every week. So It's kind of one of those things like ultimate goal is to win out. Well, not everybody can win out. So someone's going to lose, someone's going to win. So
that's the interesting piece, when you think about it too. And that kind of takes me back to what we were talking about, when you think about when the seeding comes in, you think about, let's just use the Rebels, for example.
Mm-hmm.
If they clinch, they clinch that number 1 seed. Do they sit players at that point? Do they just keep right on rolling and let guys, do you sit a bunch of guys? Do you sit players that are maybe nursing an injury that you wouldn't have maybe sat them, before or anything
mm-hmm.
like that? It just, some of that stuff you take away maybe, we've talked about teams on a roll.
Yeah.
Do you take a chance on potentially sitting somebody to not maybe have them get hurt, get suspended? You just never know what could happen throughout a game.
Yeah.
What do you do there?
Well,
so there's a lot of different takes and different thoughts on that, but that just, that kind of takes me back to, does that cause, an issue with a team rolling?
Yeah.
The way that they are. So
well, if you use the Rebels, if you want to, they earned that number 1 spot, so they earned that kind of I don't want to say a free game, but they've done the hard work all season to put themselves in that position. You just, as Ben likes to say from the Lions in the meetings, just win the game. Like, stop, worrying about just win your game, and before you know it, you're undefeated or you're 9 and 1, there's no argument about what your seed is. Like, you're in.
Well, it even goes to, even more. It could be teams that, let's say you're locked into the 4 seed, the 5 seed, the 6 seed, like what, whatever. Do you at that point, and that could go for any of those teams in either conference. Once you've locked in a spot, do you?
I see what you're saying.
Do you potentially derail the train that's rolling to do that? So a lot of people say yes, a lot of people say no.
Our second year in the GFL, we had secured the 4 spot. Going into week 10, and this goes along what you're saying. So we were scheduled to play the Sergeants. No matter if we won or lost, we were in the 4th seed because now put head-to-head and all that stuff. So win, lose, it didn't matter because we'd have the same record as the Thunder and the Sergeants, but we'd beat both of them if we win or lost. So long story short, that game didn't get played. That was a game we were going to let all our second-string guys play because we knew the following week we were going to have to play a really tough game. So the coaches decided to let the second stringers play that Sergeant's game. No matter win or lose, we're still the 4th.
Right, you're in no matter what.
So we'll just let the second string guys get some playing time, keep our starters and stuff healthy or rest up. And they didn't lock in the field. That's when the CFL was born.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. I remember
that's when I
that.
decided that, you know what, I'm done. But it was unfortunate for those players on our team. It was unfortunate for the Sergeants because the way it shook out, they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I remember that.
Of something to do with the points. We didn't get any points against us, or they would have took the seed. So
I remember that. There was a lot of talk about that. That was really controversial in terms of how that played out. But
and not to get dirty and shady, but we talk about this every week and every year in the owners' meetings, and it's the same thing. Everybody all agrees on it, and then when it comes down to it, when it's not benefiting them, they want to start debating it. So yeah, but I agree with Ben. Just win your games. Just win your week.
Yeah, no. Jacob Reed said, sit them to avoid suspension. Listen, you'd be surprised.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but let's just say you're, as bad as this is gonna sound, right? Let's just say you're that team that maybe has to play a certain team the next week.
Yeah.
Do you try to potentially? I know it's people are gonna give you flack on it, but do you try to get somebody to get suspended? Do you maybe push somebody out of bounds, or something like that? Try to get a react. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. If it works in your favor potentially, that's the only reason I say the suspension piece, because a lot of guys don't hold their head in terms of.
Well, I can't tell you from a league standpoint. Some of the teams that maybe going into week 8, 9, and 10, if they know there's no possible way they're going to make the playoffs, I hope they do the right thing and just play the game.
Yeah, I agree.
I can tell you I will come a little harsher on the penalties and the suspensions if I see that you flagrantly are trying to hurt somebody.
Yeah, I agree.
We're gonna up the staff. I told the owners that we're thinking about putting a compliance team in.
Yep.
To just be more to help you guys on the sidelines and watch some of that stuff and just try to make sure that we're having I know it's tackle football, but there's some players that just maliciously try to hurt other people, and hopefully we don't have any of that.
Because, I agree. I just figured I'd respond to that. I saw, I thought about it after I said it, and I was like, wait, did I just say sit somebody to avoid suspension? But you'd be surprised. So I just I had to laugh at the comment. So, but yeah, man, I can't wait. I'm like I said, I'm upset we don't have games tomorrow, to the point that I enjoy coming out there, watching the games. Seeing seeing the guys and stuff like that, and being around it, having people as I ride around the golf cart doing whatever, yell at me from the stands like, oh, you picked us again, whatever and stuff. So
I try to sneak in and just sit up in the stands. I got lucky this last week, and I was in the stands for a while.
It's almost like a Where's Waldo, right?
Yeah, I went to use the restroom right before halftime. I didn't make it back to my seat till the start of the 4th quarter. So, yeah, I'll do that again. So many people want to stop talk and give me BS about the picks and why this, that, and the other. So.
Yeah, it's always interesting. So, but yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I want to keep some of these, what we kind of put together, and see how many of them actually come back. That's true, and kind of critique myself on some of these picks. So yeah, we'll see.
I think it's going to be interesting. I think that there's no more registrations. New player registration was cut off at 5 today.
Okay, remember that. Okay.
So there's still people trying to transfer. No more transfers. If you get released this late in the season, I'm sorry. We'll see you next year. Like, there's just reasons you're getting cut. And all I can say is do better. I mean, if you're bouncing from team to team to team, I will give you some advice if you aren't playing anymore this season. Be careful what you put on social media. There are teams looking at that stuff. That's that. I think these owners are finally starting. I get glimpses little twinkle in my eye every once in a while that they're starting to, instead of trying to be against each other all the time, they're starting to communicate a little bit and ask questions about why this player's not on their team anymore. So the days of just being able to con the new team into letting you play, I think are slowly starting to be pushed out. And I think these owners are finally starting to, regardless of their personal feelings towards each other, they're starting to at least communicate when it comes to the players. So
it's a good thing.
Yeah. So
it's a start. It's a start from where it's been in the past. So
yeah,
be interesting to see how that plays out.
Very cool. I think we got stats are still rolling in. I think they're still working on stats. We'll give some league updates and stuff. Stats are still getting imported for the last couple weeks. I think we're going to open, I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but we're going to figure out how to get some player nominees for, defensive player, offensive player, and then we're going to try to roll into some voting.
Okay.
Online voting this year to get some of those awards out, maybe get those going. Not 100% sure we'll do the All-Star game only because it's so hot, and by the time we would get to that open spot, we'd really only be able to really play it before the championship.
Right. Game. Yeah, and that's a tough one.
And it'll be at 2 or 3 in the afternoon on a June. That's, so. But we'll see.
I'd be interested to see how that pans out, and see how that plays out. So.
Yeah, taking a 2-week push out kind of pushed everything out 2 weeks. Luckily, we had no rain out, so we're on schedule that we released. So. I tried to get games this weekend, but the owners didn't want to. So.
Yeah, funny part, I didn't even realize we didn't have games until, we were talking about it. And I was like, because I'm making plans to be there. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's right. I thought it was next week and we didn't have games.
Oh, yeah.
But, with the, Arturo, you're crazy. It's never too hot?
It's
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
So who said that?
Arturo Macias.
That's the Lions quarterback? Oh, yeah. For us guys that aren't born and raised in the desert, it's hot.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen. It's funny. I was joking with some of the players, because they were asking. They were like, "Man, you're not hot, sitting out instead of the booth or anything like that. You're out on the field, like hanging out." And I was like, "Listen, it's either that, or I'm gonna end up like FaceTiming somebody at the field and just be like, hey, like just let the custodian know, like I won't even be at the field if it's that hot. Like I'm sorry." So
you say that now.
It's kind of, oh no, I know I'll be there, but it was just funny. They were giving me a hard time, and I'm like, listen, it's hot. So we'll see.
As long as I'm in the shade, I'm good, man. I appreciate the teams that bring the canopies.
Yeah.
The problem is the way the stands are set up. It blocks half the field.
I didn't say you can't see it.
One of those things, yeah. So we'll work on that. Hopefully as it gets going. So
yeah, we'll see, but.
Any questions, comments?
I was going to say, yeah, you guys got anything? You guys got anything you want us to go over? Anything like that? Obviously I've been seeing a bunch of y'all comment about the picks and how it's wrong and this and that. But no, in all seriousness, you guys have anything, anything that you guys want us to go over? Anything at all that...
The picks are wrong. They're all wrong.
It's kind of like, if you pick if any of you guys like to do the football pools for money or anything like that, you're picking
fantasy
teams,
football,
or fantasy football, anything like that. It's the same type of thought process, man. It's one where we just like to give y'all something to, something to watch, something to talk through on a Friday night, leading into the next week or whatever the next day, whatever it might be. So, you guys got anything at all? If not, I will definitely. I'm sure Matt has no problem going home and doing whatever. I'm gonna go jump on the 2K and drink some more Crown Royal and hang out.
Do you make money off of that?
So I don't stream or anything. I know a lot of. Well, I do. I'll stream here and there, but I'm not like obviously a big streamer like that by any means. A couple streamers here and there, But you can make some good money off it. Like if you're, depending on what you're playing, you know, you can definitely make some good money on it. But, you know, if you have the time to do it too, that's the other thing. Do you have the time to, you know, do that? So, see, somebody's asking about, Lorenz actually asked about week 6 predictions. So this week we're just doing the you know, the playoff roadmap, you know, something to kind of just talk through a little bit.
Ask Lorenz who you have next week. Who you playing next week? I'll give you your prediction.
I was gonna say, Lorenz, what team? Who do you guys have next week?
So this is week 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5 exactly. But yeah, we'll come back to that. I know they want to do this.
But yeah, Lorenz, we will have our picks next Friday for next weekend. We're just filling in this weekend because of the bye, so we figured we'd try to do something a little different.
Yeah, I know they asked about top DBs, top wide receiver, top running back.
Who do we think they are?
Who do we think they are? I know that they kind of debate that on Red Zone. I know we can even maybe one of these weeks kind of go over it, but I hate to say it, even with that, Arturo, you know, people are gonna say that it's a, you know, same thing. Matt was talking about the All-Star game earlier, you know, or the defensive player, offensive player, and I hate to say it, but there's a lot of guys that, you know, they're not gonna like how we do it because they're gonna say, oh no, you don't like this team or you don't like that team. You don't watch film, yada, 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 yada. I've seen that a few times in here. That's, you know, whatever. I
ain't going to lie to everybody. I ain't got time to watch film.
I know Matt maybe doesn't watch a ton of film. I know that I'll watch it. You know, it's kind of hard sometimes. So with so many players, I'll be honest, like, I may know a number per se, and I'm working on getting better at that. But that's something that we will look to try to do maybe is, you know, kind of.
I take a lot of my thought process from what I see in the games as I'm moving throughout the fields and the facilities and the games throughout the day. You know, plus a lot of inside, I call it insider, but I talk to a lot of players, a lot of owners, a lot of coaches throughout the league, so I get a lot of input from them.
So, Matt, I do got a question for you. So somebody asked in here, so if someone is cut, they can't go somewhere else. It's not a transfer. Do the league rules say you can't do that? So, for example, if someone's on Team A,
well, it's not
they get cut.
It's not that it's in the rules. We told the owners 3 weeks ago that they need to make their cuts and make them final. Like, they know who the players are. They didn't want to get rid of them. They're stuck with them now. And honestly, like, if you're getting cut at week 5 or 6, like, that's a personal thing. Like, you clearly did something to get cut. You know, but we can have a whole 4-hour conversation about this ideology and what's expected from teams. And
so is the answer on that no? They can't go to another team?
No.
Okay.
I mean, that's unless my memory is wrong, that's what we agreed on Monday.
Well, no, I remember on the owner's call, that's what we had talked about. I know that. I just wanted to.
Yeah, no more of this forced release thing either. You know, basically, you can't transfer, so you're just going to make your team's life a living hell, so they release you. Well, why would I want to give you an opportunity to go play for somebody else and do the same thing on another team?
Right.
That's why I said if you're getting released and cut in week 5 or 6, it's because of something you're doing or not doing. Maybe you're not being the leader that you're supposed to be. I don't know.
Gotcha. No, I just figured I'd mention it because someone had mentioned it.
I mean, the best thing they could do is they could just write an appeal letter or, you know, send it into the league and the board will look at it. But I think the owners are fine. The owners are just at the point where their roster's their roster.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of anybody being released in the last couple of weeks. I've heard of a few players quitting, like just straight up quitting the team and then wanting to go somewhere else. That's you transferring. That's not
right. I was just say that's transfer.
Because I didn't get to play this weekend. I want to go to another team, like so. No,
I got you. Cool. Well, let me see if we got anything else that pops in here real quick.
Did we ever hear back from Lorenz on who he was playing?
So he said, what did he say? The team he said we would lose to Outlaws. So I think it's Rebels out. Is it Rebels Outlaws this next week? Is that what Lorenz? Is that what you said? Rebels Outlaws?
Ooh, I don't know. That's going to be a hard one because the Outlaws are coming off of a bye plus the break, so they're almost 3 weeks without it. 2 solid weekends without a game, and I know the Rebels. They went to battle last Saturday against Spartans, so I don't know if those guys are still recouping, but I'm going to have to give it to the Outlaws. Lorenz doesn't throw a 1 touchdown.
No, I'm still taking the Rebels. Like I said, I think the Rebels go 9-1, 10-0. So I think that
I'm only saying that to mess with Lorenz, but I believe that the Rebels they're headed out this season. Like they're headed out like they're gonna just continue to roll through people.
Gotcha. So Jacob, I was gonna say if you have a question on that, I know like we could sit here and kind of go back and forth on it, but if you have a question on that, send it to the league page.
Jacob,
we'll take a look at it. Jacob Reed.
Is he getting cut?
No, I don't know. I'm assuming he's maybe asking for a friend.
Y'all got to stay in your lanes, man. Stay in your lanes, bros.
But, yeah, other than that, man, I don't see anything else on here.
Cool.
We can I'm looking forward to next week. Take a look at the matchups.
Yeah, next week should be fun. I think as we get closer and closer to the playoffs, we're going to get more and more controversial conversations. I think we're going to, from a personal standpoint, all the fields are rolling. We have all the staff dialed in, so minus me being out a week or two for work, I should be able to just watch the games and be able to give a better fan perspective on the matchups.
Yeah, we'll see, because they said you don't watch films, so you don't know what you're talking about.
I could tell you when it don't look right.
Just giving you a hard time.
What's film got to do with anything? I watch you drop the ball.
I mean,
you miss a tackle. I mean,
hey, you're not wrong.
I could watch film. I could watch probably a third of each game and tell you what most people did wrong. Now, if you're asking me how to fix it, that's a whole nother story. I can just tell you when shit don't look wrong. That's why I had great coaches and great captains on the field.
Makes sense. Well,
I don't know film. Y'all don't know business. Anyways.
Hey, we'll see, man.
Nor there.
We'll see. We're gonna go ahead before it gets
before they start getting petty.
Serious.
One last thought. Speaking of petty, I had somebody approach us about doing the Petty Sundays.
Okay.
Do you think we should still roll forward with Petty Sundays?
I mean, I think you talking about from like a show perspective.
Yeah. Yep.
It's hit or miss for me, man. Like I think it'll be fun. I think it'll definitely be fun. But here's the only thing that worries me with it is everybody says that they're great with the petty, right? And, it gets all, whatever. But then I see posts go up on Red Zone about, I think Jonte posted or somebody posted like, Raph jumped in on it too. It's kind of funny, but people talking about, boxing and this and that and fighting and all this stuff because of stuff that's being said and different stuff like that. So I think it'll be fun. I just don't know. A lot of guys say they have the thick skin. They could take it, and then something happens. Somebody says something about them that's included in a Petty Sunday or whatever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now it's an issue at a game, or down the road or even outside of football. I know. So I think it's a great idea. I just don't know if
I don't know if our players can handle it, to be honest with you.
I just don't know if guys can do that. So
okay.
I would love to see it though, because wake up on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, and watch somebody come in and I love it. Jonte comes in there and
oh yeah,
on his petty, I even saw it this last week. Tim Smith was going in. They were, dropping huddle videos of, stuff. I mean, there was a lot of different stuff that I saw throughout this week that was, I couldn't help but laugh. I'm at work laughing. So I think it'll be fun. But on that note, actually, one more thing. So I know that somebody mentioned do a top 5 plays of the week or something. So guys, I know we talked about it before. Send us clips, send us huddle of different plays. I know we asked for that before.
And not one of you just coming through the line and bumping the quarterback.
Yeah, like if it's gonna be like like someone.
Johnny Grant, I know he's watching because he stopped me at the game, was asking me about his film. I looked at it, Mr. Grant. I'm not sure what I was exactly looking at.
He made a good play. It was a good play.
It was zoomed out, so it's hard to tell which actual player he was.
No, he made a play. He made a play in the backfield. He definitely made a good play. Okay. I know we were chatting about it. I know we were talking about on the. When we were talking about it the last week, he had sent that over. We couldn't get it to play.
Yeah, because we have to preload it, so we need it before Thursday night, basically.
But if you guys have anything like that with a top play, whether it be offense, defense, definitely.
Well, we did do our favorite plays of the week, so obviously.
Well, no, they want to see like a top 5, almost like SportsCenter has a top 10 plays or top 10 whatevers. Send that to us, and we'll definitely. I mean, we have no problem doing it, but it's a lot easier if you guys send it in to us than to go through and mark down 20 plays from, the different games and try to figure out, okay, how are we going to decide? So what you guys send us, we'll take a look at and kind of go from there.
What we need is the game and the play number. Yep,
game and play number on Huddle, and we'll get it knocked out.
It's easiest for us to go right in and get it. So we should, So cool. If there's nothing else, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I know it's kind of a weird week with no games, kind of just hypotheticals. And, like you said earlier, we're going to be looking forward to how it's going to roll out the next couple of weeks. I think each week we're going to get a little bit closer to what scenario we think is really going to happen. Those of you guys that are in the, the 2-3, 3-2 brackets, you guys have got to start winning some games. Bucks, you guys got to do something, man. Like, I don't know. That's like beating a dead horse. Something's got to happen there. And their schedule does not look like it's getting any easier.
No, it's not.
So they have the Bucks-Spartans game of the week in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I have thought about flexing that game. Problem is, the Rebels would have
right.
No. Game of the week.
Yeah.
So
we kind of chatted about that.
I think we're gonna let the Spartans Bucks play their game just to see how it goes. But who knows? We may change our mind after next week, depending on who's the records and stuff like that. So
yeah, take a look.
But once again, see you guys all later.
Have a good one, fellas.